Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Hope everybody's having a great start to your day, start to your week, start to your month. Hopefully, you've gotten things off to a good start. It doesn't always happen. There are just going to be those days, those weeks, and even months where things just seem to be out of whack. Let me tell you something. I never want to present the idea that everything flows for Rick. Everything just goes smoothly for Rick. Everything just lines up. Rick is the dude that has got everything flowing smoothly. What I've been able to achieve in my life isn't because I wake up every day and everything's going smoothly. It's because I wake up every day and I put in the work. It's because I refuse to let situations and circumstances dictate to me who I'm going to be, what I'm going to accomplish, what I'm going to do. Today didn't start out well, but this is something I've learned in the course of growing, developing, and becoming what I've become and heading towards what I am becoming is that it's these days when you don't feel like it, these days when you've got a reason to cry, these days when you feel like, man, I'm just tired, these days when you sit up and everything around you says, man, you don't need to be doing all this. Girl, why you reach? Just go do that. Just calm down. Just go do that. That's easier. Go do that. That's less complicated. Go do that. Ain't that much resistance. It's the days like that when you choose, no, I'm going to fire it up. I'm going to get the engine running. I'm going to find a way to get through it. I'm going to make what started out not good end up good because I woke up with a heart of gratitude, a heart of thanksgiving. And so I'm not going to allow it to deter my day. And what I know is it's these days where Rick just sitting up going, man, I wish I could just chill today. And sometimes that is the answer. But most of the times it's saying, get up and do the work. Get up and do the work. Get up and do something. And this came over my spirit today. As I was sitting up and I was going through my prayer and my meditation, this came over my spirit. Somebody needs you to be your best self today. And it was directed at me. Someone needs you to be your best self today. Someone needs you in a moment where you don't feel like it to be your best self. Why? That's when things happen. That's when power is transferred. That's when dreams are ignited. That's when hope is restored. That's when things happen. So I want to encourage you that whatever it is you're going through, don't let it define you. Don't let it be the determining factor on whether you're going to finish what you started. Wake up, dust yourself off, get up, figure it out, move through it. Here's the thing. When you have a direct link to divinity, to God, to the mind of God, there are no problems that are unsolvable. The answer is always on the way. It may not show up when you think it needs to, but it's on the way. It may not show up packaged like you want it to show up, but it's on the way. You're going to have to learn that it doesn't happen always in the time you want. It happens when the situation is ready, when you're ready, when you're right, but you've got to trust the process. One of the things that I've always been able to do is trust the process. Sitting up and looking at it going, man, and I'm not there sometimes I'm going like, okay, what's going on, but I trust the process. I never put it down. I never let it go. I never give up. No surrender, no retreat. I don't fold because it doesn't look pretty. I don't fold because things aren't going my way. I don't fold because it's taking a little longer. I don't fold because of anything that's in front of me. What I do is I stand up and understand that I'm built for this. And what you're going to have to understand is there's some things you went through in life that you didn't understand at the time. There's some things you went through in life that you just simply could not get your hand around. Why is this happening to me? Well, I'm telling you, a lot of the things you went through that you didn't understand were preparing you for the moments that you're facing now, preparing you to be able to get through it, to be able to look back and see that there's a reason for you to believe that you can get through it because you've been through some things already, some things that people thought would destroy you, but you're still standing. This is no different than that. You have whatever it takes to get through it, but it's going to require perseverance. It's going to require you standing firm. It's going to require you pushing through. I'm here today. I'm going to talk to you about it's Tuesday, so it's Transformational Tuesday, and I'm going to talk to you about 6 crucial steps you need to take in transformation, steps that I take my clients through. What I want to really quickly point out to you, won't take long, is in the description box. There's a link to work with me. It is a link for the bronze package. The bronze package, there's a special now though. For the first 5 people who sign up, you're going to get a free upgrade to the gold package. That's going from 12 sessions to 26 sessions, half a year. And it's a free upgrade. For the remainder of the people who sign up today, all this is for today only. For the remainder of the people who sign up today, you're going to get a free upgrade to the silver package, which is 18 sessions. And people say, well, why should I work with you? That's a question that you have to ask yourself. You have to ask yourself, are you looking for someone who can literally help you line things up, get your head focused, get situations, evaluate where you are, establish a clear path. And we're going to talk about some of the things that go along in transformation. I'm good at what I do. I'm one of the best at what I do. I am internationally recognized for what I do. Have clients in Australia, clients in several places in Europe, Sweden, London, France. And you'd be surprised how many people are in these places that speak good English, that literally are aware of who people are over here. And, and it shocks me when people reach out to me from these places. It doesn't shock me as much now because I understand the reach. And this is one of the reasons I started years ago on the internet, because I was going to be able to reach people that I could not reach otherwise. But I want to talk to you about transformation. If you're serious about changing your life, I want to work with you. The opportunity is in the description box. I'll talk to you more about that, but let's talk about transformation. Here's the thing, first and foremost, change is happening. Whether you accept it or not, whether you believe it or not, change is happening. The thing is, you want to be in as much control of change as possible. So that means you want as much of your life to have intentional change, or what I prefer to as intentional growth, meaning you're choosing the direction you're traveling in. You're not simply constantly being tossed to and fro, back and forth in this life. That's going to be storms. You're not going to get out of the storm. You're not going to get around, circumvent. The storm is coming. The beautiful thing is, it's what you do in the storm that's going to matter. How are you moving in the storm? Can you see the purpose? But see, if you don't have a sense of identity, a sense of self, of what you're trying to become, the storm won't make sense to you. You'll feel the storm is there to destroy you. But when if you were just in the gym and you didn't understand what you were doing, you were like, why are they hurting me? Why are they got me pumping until Alita, you have been waiting to work with me for a while. Today might be a great time. Again, the bronze session again is being upgraded. The first 5 people are going to get upgraded to a gold package, 26 sessions. That's more than double what the bronze is worth. But Alita, if you're ready, reach out to me. You know how to reach me. But people don't know who they are. The storm doesn't make sense. It's like being in the gym and somebody's got you pumping and you're burning and you're breathing. Why are you doing? If you don't understand that it's strengthening my cardiovascular system, it's making me stronger. It's working my joints. It's preparing me to be able to perform at a high level physically. It's putting me in optimal physical condition, which in turn is going to support longevity in my life and quality of life. Now it makes sense. Now, wait a minute. I got to get this burn in order to feel better, to be better, to be stronger, to live longer. Makes sense. Same thing with the storm. When you understand what it's doing, is developing my intellectual capacity to function and operate in stressful moments and turbulent situations. It's testing my faith. It's challenging my resilience. It's teaching me how to endure in moments of difficulty. I'm developing in the storm. My grandfather said, son, you're going to either be going in the storm, or coming out of the storm. Let me tell you something. Don't get caught up in what caused it and all that. What's your responsibility, son, is in the storm is to come out a better man than went in. Let the storm shape you. Let it mold you. Let it strengthen you. Let it develop you. Don't sit up in such a bitter mode that you get nothing out of the storm. See, that's what happens when you know where you're going. So the first thing that you have to do in order to develop and become a new person, to achieve powerful personal transformation, is to establish the outcome. For the people who are of the Christian faith, Judeo, even Islam, there's a part that says, write the vision and make it plain, so those who see it may run. When you break that down, what is it saying? The clearer the vision, the more force it has, the more it will drive you, the more it will inspire you, the more it will anchor you, the more that you will be able to understand your why. When you understand your why, you can get through the hells of the moment, the temporary frustrations and situations that are just a part of the process. When you understand who you are, when you understand the vision, when you understand where you're going. So you have to establish the outcome. What does that mean? That means you have to have a clear vision of where you're going. Write it down, journal about it, put it on a vision board, write it down in simple steps. This is where I'm going. This is who I'm becoming. This is why I'm becoming it. Write it down. The next thing is you got to plan for incremental progress. We want quantum leaps in everything. We live in a microwave world. We live in a microwave world. We live in a place where everything is supposed to happen now. We've got instantaneous everything, but nobody can do nothing. I tell you, I was talking to someone the other day. Our devices are dumbing us down. If we don't spend time away from our devices, we don't let our minds work. Our brains are literally millions of times more powerful than the computers we use, the devices we use, which are little small computers. Our phones and our tablets are just small computers, but our brains are that powerful. The problem is we're not activating them. We're not firing neurons. We're not challenging the development of new neurosynaptic connections that harbor ideas, challenge imagination, create new spaces. We're sitting up and we are operating when the vein. Even when we decide to step out a little bit, we're stepping out in the path of what everybody says we should be doing. Nobody's challenging their imagination to produce a new path. Nobody's challenging their imagination to grow themselves, to expand themselves, to do something in a way that it's never been done before. Nobody is saying I can get out of the box. Because that's what, so you got to get ready for incremental progress. What that means is 90% of your growth and your expansion is going to be a step-by-step process that you need to have ways of measuring every so often. Look, compared to where I was 3 weeks ago, where am I at today? What can I change? What can I move? The idea that I'm just going to go out there and say, this is what I'm going to do, and all of a sudden I'm going to be there. You're going to have some quantum leaps in your life, but it's going to be because you've developed momentum by taking incremental steps, those small baby steps that nobody wants to celebrate. I celebrate my baby steps because when I look up, 1,000,000 baby steps still gets me there. And so I celebrate my baby steps because those are the steps that no matter what happens, I can read a minimum of 20 pages a day. That grows me because I choose the pages I read. I'm feeding my mind. I'm feeding my brain. I'm controlling what information is flowing. So I'm controlling my emotions. I'm controlling what I'm expecting. I'm writing myself and putting myself in a space and in a direction that's taking me to where I want to go. Why can I do that? Because I know the outcome I'm looking for. One of the first things I do with my clients, we have to establish a goal. We have to establish a destination. We have to establish what it is you want. What is it that you're looking for? Where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? Then we're going to say, okay, where are we now? Then we now know you're here and you're trying to get there. We can now lay the course of a path. We can set the course of the path. We can sit up and say, okay, then we figure out strategically based on your natural gifting, the best way to get you there. But you first have to be willing, number one, to identify what it is you want. Be very clear about it, very specific about it. The more ambiguous you are about it, the harder it is to get there, because you can't lay your eye. You need to understand there are 50 million directions you can go in, but there's only one direction where you're going to land on your destiny. You got to be that clear so you're heading in the right direction. It don't have to be a perfect alignment, but you got to at least be heading in the right direction. You can make the adjustments while you're on your way. Number three. So number two is plan for incremental progress. Number three, learn from others. Let me tell you something. Success leaves clues. You're never going to learn the things you need to learn being around people who haven't done it, have no desire to do it, aren't doing any research or reading into it. They can't share with you. It's okay to be with someone where you're at if they're trying to go where you're trying to go. Why? Because they're researching and reading, and you guys can share valuable information with one another on what you're going to be doing with them. But you need to be around people who've done it. You need to be around people that you can sit up and say, okay, that's how they did it. So that's the thing that you have to be willing to do. You got to be willing to sit up and look at other people's study. Sometimes you're going to be able to just read about them, read a book they wrote, read an article on them, watch a video interview of them. Sometimes you might need to actually hire somebody. There's a reason why the quote unquote, I don't really classify myself as a life coach, because I do so much more. The disciplines I've mastered take me beyond that. I consider myself more of a life strategist with a heavy bend on performance psychology. But call me what you want to call me. It's not that important. I'm not going to trip out if you call me a life coach. I'm not going to trip out if you call me Rick. Hey, Doc, whatever. But I want you to win. But the reason this industry is booming and growing at an exponential rate is because people are starting to see the benefit of it. And you can look at the people who are doing it. Presidents have hired life coaches, literally. The matter of fact, the term life coach actually was birthed when Tony Robbins was working with Bill Clinton. And someone asked him what he was doing. He said, I'm sort of like a life coach. And it just took off. And now he can't stand the term because, again, everybody's jumping in and very few people can do what he does at the level he does. And I'm in that boat. I mean, I've invested 30 years to be where I'm at, so I know what I'm doing. Everybody has a way they do it, and the way I do it is my way. But you got to learn from others. Number four, you got to be the outcome. Speak it, talk it, walk it. And the old adage is fake it till you make it. And a lot of people don't like it. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't like it. We are real big on linguistic association. So the word fake it says that I'm a fake when I'm sitting up. No. So I say be it until you see it. Same thing. What is it saying? Here's the thing. God designed us in a certain way. And a lot of times we sit up and identify with our circumstances so much that we never step outside of the circumstance. So the circumstance defines us. Let me explain to you what I mean. Okay. When someone says be it until you see it or fake it, what they're saying is talk it, walk it. I speak in the present tense about things that I'm aspiring to do or become. I don't say I am going to, I say I am. Why? Because the brain can't tell the difference. When I'm thinking, I'm envisioning myself already there. The brain cannot tell the difference between what is being visualized or imagined and what is actually happening. It can't do it. So the more you do it, the more you tell your brain you do it, the more your brain starts looking for other opportunities and ways to do it. And it recognizes you and it starts to shape your behavior. You're always going to behave based on how you see yourself. Your self-concept, your self-image is going to determine how you behave. You can change everything around you. You can put $1 million in the hand of a poor person. If they have a poverty mindset, they're going to always find a way to lose. You can take everything away from a person who understands money. In some kind of way, they're going to figure out a way to get it. It's the mindset. It's not the opportunity. Matter of fact, the opportunity is created by the mindset. It's either hidden because of a negative mindset or it's exposed because of a positive mindset. And there's no ease of entry into this thing either. So a lot of people quit because it's hard. A lot of people fold because it's hard. A lot of people want it to happen by osmosis. They want it to happen by simply saying, I wish it, I speak it, and it's there. And when it's not there, they say, oh, well, then that's not God's will for me. God has been blamed for so much of our failures that is absolutely ridiculous. We sit up and it doesn't go our way. It's not God's will. No, see, God will not withhold anything good from you. If you mean to do good with it, if you plan on living good with it, if you plan on helping other people, God's not withholding it. It's going to cost you, though. Anything you put out to have that's greater than what you already have comes with a cost. You can demand anything you want from life, and life will pay the price, but life is always going to have a counter demand. Life is always going to have something that it demands of you. If you want better finances, life is going to demand that you stay out of the mall. Life is going to demand that you stop spending money on things you don't need. Life is going to demand that you invest in yourself, invest in things that bring you back a return, whether it's in actual hard assets, or that produce a financial return, or whether it's in situations that produce personal growth. Whether you're investing time, energy, or money, you're going to have to give something in order to get something. Life is going to make that counter. Most people don't want to pay that price. Everybody's cutting corners. Everybody's ducking around. Everybody's talking about what they want, but nobody's doing what they need to do. Everybody's skirting the process, chasing the promise. There is no promise without there first being an endurance of the process. You're trying to figure out how to get there without going there. And that's not how life works. Then we say, okay, we've got to be the outcome. So that means that you've got to literally talk to yourself the right way. Think the right, what thoughts are you, whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. If you're focusing on what's wrong, you're going to feel it. It's going to have a negative impact. It's going to lower your frequency, lower your vibration. Sometimes you got to step away from it. Step away from the things and sit up and say, no, that's not my life. That's a circumstance. You know what circumstances are? They're temporal realities that take place in moments in time. They're not your life. They are circumstances. They are situations that are meant for you to figure out and work out and get through. You have gone through probably hundreds of thousands of circumstances in your life, good and bad. They change. What doesn't change is the destiny. What doesn't change is the destination. What doesn't change is your responsibility to your designer to stand up and be everything that you were designed to be. It's up to you. So then the next one is a big one. You've got to be willing to be uncomfortable. So number 4 is be the outcome. Number 5 is be willing to be uncomfortable. I tell people all the time that I had to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That I had to learn to find a way to acclimate to being out of my element. Because here's the problem. When you master something, it becomes your element. It becomes your space, your place of power. And you should operate and dominate in that space. But the problem is if you don't step out of it to consume more space and more information and more knowledge and more engagement, you get locked into that space and you stunt your growth and you never become what you were fully meant to be. You're operating in this little space. You're killing it, but it's a small portion of what you were meant to do in this world. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. And when you do that, you're going to enter into a space you're not familiar with. That space is going to automatically produce a level of discomfort. When people come to me and I say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we talk about it, say, okay, this is what I need you to do for the next 30 days. And about a week in, 2 weeks in, I come back to how I feel. It says something, it just doesn't feel right. You know what they're saying? It doesn't feel familiar. They've gotten comfortable with doing the same thing over and over again. And now on a intellectual, mental, psychological, and even a physiological level, on a cellular level, really, they have become acclimated to doing the same thing over and over again. It's like clockwork. I don't have to think it. I just do it. The problem is you stun it. You're stuck right there. In order to actually get somewhere, you're going to have to go somewhere you haven't been. To get where you have never gone, you have to go a path you've never traveled. And you're going to have to go places you've never been on the path and the way there. That's going to be uncomfortable. Why? Because you're not familiar with it. You're not the big fish in the small pond anymore. You might be the guppy for a while, and it may feel uncomfortable. You may feel vulnerable, but it's necessary. I'm constantly entering into arenas where I know very little compared to the masters in that arena. But my goal is to tap into them. My goal is to learn from them. My goal is to grow myself so that I become more effective in the things that I'm passionate about. This isn't about my ego. It's about my purpose. So you got to tell yourself, it's not about my ego. It's about my purpose. What does that mean? Sometimes I got to be in front of people who are talking on a level that I can't get on because they know things I don't know. And I've got to be okay with that. And I've got to be also okay with saying, hey, man, I didn't really understand that. Can you talk to me? Can you explain that? Can you tell me? And that's where you grow. That's where you expand. Instead of sitting there saying, well, this is how it's always been done, so this is how I'm going to do it. No, there's always a better way. Instead of saying, man, I got a pretty good way of doing things, why mess with it? Because there's a better way. And your goal should always be in search of the best possible way at that particular given moment. And so you should be growing into something. You should do things so much better than you did a year ago, simply because you're constantly looking for better ways to do it. You're looking for better ways to get where you're going. You're making your life more effective. That's why you can take 20 years on the back end of your life and accomplish more than you accomplished in the first 40. Because you've gotten better, you've gotten more efficient, you got more wiser, you're knowledgeable, you're moving. You don't, just because you've hit 50 doesn't mean you're old. Just because you hit 60 doesn't mean you're old. You can get more done from 60 to 80 than you got the first 60 years if you are actually focused on growing. Rumor has it that Warren Buffett earned 90+ percent of the wealth he holds now after his 50th birthday. Now, he's always been entrepreneur minded, finance minded, but that status he has as a multi-billionaire investor all came after 50. This whole idea, but you've got to want to grow. Number 6, be your own cheerleader. Learn how to celebrate yourself. Learn how to encourage yourself. Learn how to be the internal force that validates your purpose, your destination, your path. Stop looking for other people to tell you that you're okay. Stop looking for other people to co-sign your destiny, your gift, your passion, your purpose. Oh, if it's nothing wrong when people do it, but that's got to be secondary, because if you rest all of your worth in someone else's valuation of you, then what's going to happen is that person or those people are going to possess the power to crush you with their rejection. I love when people tell me how much I help them. I love them when I love to hear people talk about how I've blessed them, how I helped them, and all that stuff like that. But none of my worth or my value is rested upon their evaluation. When people tell me thank you, that's all I need, because I've done what I've done. And I've done it at the best I can. And I know how good I am. And I go in with a confidence of knowing how good I am. If I get with you, we're going to win. We're going to win. That's the end. If we go, you get with me. And the thing is, people who get with me finish. I think I have one person in the last 10 years who didn't finish. And there were a lot of other things involved in that, but they didn't finish. Everybody finishes, everybody wins, because it's a path. It's a pattern. It's steps. It's not this secret that only some people can, or this access that only people. The reason you're not getting there is because you're not walking the right path. You're not taking the right steps. You're not moving the right way. It's not because you can't get there. It's because you're following a broken model. And that model is put in front of a lot of people on purpose, because if you walk that model, it makes you easier to exploit. I'll give you a job and I'll pay you this. Nothing wrong with the job, but are you paying me what I'm worth? Am I getting the freedom to move how I want to? How much ownership am I getting? I believe if people are working with you, they should have a piece of ownership in what you have them working on. And if I can't have ownership, maybe I should be off doing it myself. You have to make up in your mind that nothing is going to stop you. That no matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what difficult moments come up, you got it. I've shared this before and I'm going to share it again. And this is the back end of my prayer and meditation. It's the closing out of my prayer and meditation. And it doesn't change because of circumstances. It doesn't change because of any news I may have gotten the night before. Now, remember, at the time that I'm doing this, I haven't looked at my phone, so I don't know what's on my phone yet. So I'm prepared, but I may have had a lot on my mind, a lot going on with my family, with the business, and all the other things. I've got clients on the therapeutic side that are dealing with some major stuff. I mean, I wake up literally with people's lives in my hand. And so it's a lot going on. But let me tell you something. This is the focus that you've got to have. And I've gone through my prayer, my meditation, but I'm closing out, and it ends with I enjoy life for each day brings a constant reminder of the power and the wonder of the universe, God, and myself. I am confident, I am serene, I am sure. No matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance crosses my path, I refuse to accept it, for it is nothing but an illusion. There can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of God, which is in me and around me and serves me now. I am committed to excellence. I am adequately sufficient to meet every challenge. I am abundant, wealthy, debt-free, powerful, relentless, and dominant. I create, generate, elevate, gravitate, and dominate. I win. And I end it that way. It doesn't matter what I'm going through, because when I started saying that 15 years ago, it was nowhere where I am now. But because I said it, I've gotten where I am, and I will get where I'm going. This is the thing that you have. Hey, what's up, Eric? This is the thing that you have to have an understanding of. You set the tone of your morning. Like I said, I don't pick this thing up until on cue, and it goes like that. I don't pick that thing up for 30 minutes to an hour after I've awakened. I go through my prayer, my meditation. I get my head right, mindset of gratitude. Why? Because I don't control what's on it. And if I pick it up before I set my state, I surrender my personal sovereignty to whatever I see on there. Hell, I might look on there and, hey, you just sold this package and this amount of money has been. I might see that, or I might see, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this time. I'm sorry. Or, hey, look, this just happened. We need you to come. So-and-so. This just happened to so-and-so. Whatever. And now my whole day is, and my state of mind is set off of what was on that device. Stop giving so much power to this device and start using it to empower you. One of the things I use on this phone all the time is the tracker that tells me how much screen time I have. And then I can look at it and see what I spent that screen time on. We've got to be more focused. We've got to be more connected in being in alignment with people who are doing what we're trying to do. One of the things that I pride myself in doing is not being a know-it-all, even in the field where I'm probably one of the most knowledgeable. I learn from people, and I sit there and I operate people. The people I hang out with will tell you, I'm a dude. that operates in my field, but there are other dudes that operate in their field, and I look at it, man, I need to touch this brother. I need to, work with this sister. Everybody has something. You have a gift. And the Bible says your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. The problem is we're moving wrong. We're operating wrong. And I want to help as many people as I can get there. That's why I've put up thousands, literally thousands of videos, published 26 books, over 1,000 academic articles, over 30,000 prose articles. It's crazy. I've got sites, multiple sites. I got one site alone with 1,000 articles on it. Now, obviously, I didn't do it overnight. That's that step-by-step thing. I didn't do it overnight. This is years and years of me just hammering and beating on my craft, being about what I'm saying I'm about every day. Why? And hey, do you think every morning that I wake up, I'm just like, woo, let me go out here and do. Sometimes I'm going through storms. I'm human. Last year was one of the roughest years of my life, but I woke up every day and I answered the bell. That's a promise I made to God when I first started this rebuilding journey, when everything crumbled around me. I made God a promise. I told God, I said, I know I have to go through this. I'm not naive enough to ask you to remove me from it, because it's something I've got to go through to become what I'm trying to become. So here is my proposal. And it was this simple. I told God, if you wake me up, I'll answer the bell. That's it. See, I'm aware enough and understand enough that God has already empowered me. I don't have all this other stuff that you add. Hey, the first thing I realized when I started communicating with God is, why do I need to spend 30 minutes telling somebody something they already know? Maybe I need to get it off my chest. Maybe I need to say it, but I don't have to tell God everything that's going on. God already knows. So I can spend my time listening, just being in the presence of God. And I'm not telling you how to do it or what you need to call it, but being in the presence of God is a calming factor. It's also a very powerful source of confidence, because when you're in the presence of God, you start to understand, I'm not going to go into anything that I can't handle. That's when I started looking at myself in the mirror and telling myself, you don't have the answer yet, but you're built for this. You're going to get through it. So my encouragement to you is to find out what it is you really, truly want to do. Write it down where you can see it, where you can read it, where you can speak it, where you can envision it. And then you set your path. And then you wake up every day with an intent to produce behavior, thoughts, and ideas that are going to culminate in you achieving this thing. It doesn't happen overnight. Stop looking for overnight success. I often use this example, and I'm gonna use it, and then I'm gonna back out and remind you about the offer, then I'm gone. And this isn't whether you think this dude is funny or not, but Kevin Hart, by far the highest grossing comedian of all time. Definitely not the funnest in my opinion, not close. But that's not what this is about. It actually proves my point. What people don't realize is they're seeing the back end of Kevin Hart's 19-year denial. But it wasn't denial, it was just a delay. 19 years he fought to get into the industry he's dominating now, financially, economically. Again, it doesn't matter how funny you think. The people who are paying him and setting him up and he's selling out arenas, they think he's funny. That's the thing. Sometimes persistent trumps talent. Sometimes just the unwillingness to quit. Sometimes you just got to look over at the person on the other treadmill that you're competing against and say, one of us going to down this motherfucker because I'm not getting off. You have to be willing to go the distance. Look, as I said, today only, there's an opportunity to work with me. The bronze package, you can now purchase the bronze package and have a free upgrade for the first 5 people who do it today. Free upgrade to the gold package, which is 26 weeks. So from 12 weeks to 26 weeks, no extra cost. And for the remainder of the people who do it, a free upgrade to the silver package, which is 18 weeks. So you get an additional 6 at no additional charge. It's a great place to start. The people who work with me and actually are going hard in the paint on the platinum package, but that's a whole nother ball game. We can talk about that if you want to reach out to me about the platinum package. That's 52 weeks. That's an entire year. But it's worth it. Matter of fact, all of my platinum clients have at least read up once. But they're on a whole nother wavelength, the way they think and way they move. And, you know, I don't expect everybody to be there, but I do expect everybody who's talking about doing something remarkable to be prepared to make remarkable sacrifices, remarkable investments. And it's not just in getting a package from me. Whether you work for me or not, you're going to have to put some skin in the game. I'm just the person that's going to help you more effectively, more efficiently, with greater sense of purpose and direction, and in a lesser time frame, get to this destination that you're talking about. That's what I do. So on that note, look, the link is in the description box. If you want to take advantage of it, take advantage of it. I look forward to working with you. Whatever you do, you're in control of your destiny. I don't care what's going on around you. You're in control of it. But you're going to have to walk it out. On that note, I am out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day, and smile. Also, take the time out to be kind to at least one person, preferably someone you don't know or someone who isn't expecting it. That's my challenge. So on that note, I'm out here. You guys have an unbelievable day. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I challenge you to do the same. I'm out.